Have you ever wondered if another version of you exists somewhere else, making completely different choices? Can your soul live different lives simultaneously? In other words, can you actually be incarnated more than once at the same time? And if that's the case, does your soul split into fragments to experience parallel realities? Today, we're diving into the mystery of parallel incarnations. Welcome to Mystical and Practical, the podcast that demystifies the soul's journey, the spirit world, and spiritual practices. I'm Millie Guidance, a past life psychic, certified Akashic Records reader, and channeling coach. Here, we talk about spirit guides, the Akashic Records, reincarnation, and everything that connects the seen to the unseen, all with both feet firmly on the ground. Ready to decode the spirit world and connect with your inner magic? Let's jump right in. Hi there, today I'm going to talk about parallel incarnations and answer Danielle's question, can our lives unfold simultaneously? We've been exploring the soul's journey so far in this podcast, and in the last episode, we reached the moment of incarnation on Earth along with reincarnation amnesia. And that amnesia also implies that you forget about possible parallel lives. So today we're going to explore together whether a soul can be incarnated in two bodies at the same time, whether the soul divides or remains whole, why this happens mostly with old souls, whether we can meet the other version of ourselves, and how time truly functions at the soul level. And stay until the end because I'll also talk about healing across timelines and what that changes concretely in your life. But before we go further, if past lives is something that fascinates you, that's literally my specialty. I'm a past life psychic, and during Akashic readings, parallel lives sometimes emerge spontaneously. I don't go looking for them, but when they appear, they're always relevant. So if you would like to explore this for yourself, I will put a link in the description if you want to book an Akashic reading with me or learn how to access your own Akashic records with my online course. So, can incarnations overlap? From what my spirit guides share and from what many near-death experiencers report, yes. They call them, my spirit guides call them parallel lives. And what's fascinating is that the quantum physics opens an interesting door here. So in quantum mechanics, a particle can exist in multiple states at once. This is called superposition. It isn't cut into pieces. It remains whole, yet present in multiple probabilities simultaneously. This isn't spiritual proof, but it does show that reality is far less linear and solid than we once imagined. In the concept of parallel incarnations, as my guides explain it, the soul does not fragment. It doesn't lose anything. It doesn't become less. It remains whole in each incarnation. Imagine, if you wish, a drop of water that drops into the ocean. So it's not a drop of water anymore. It's still a drop of water. It's still 100% water, and it's becoming part of the ocean. Or if you prefer, a ray of sunshine. Even if it appears divided when you see the ray, it comes from the same source, which is the sun. A bit like a quantum wave manifesting in multiple places without losing its integrity. So if you are living parallel lives, you remain fully you. Your soul is not diluted or diminished. And sometimes this can explain something very concrete in your life. Maybe a fear feels disproportionate. A sense of urgency is there that you cannot explain. There's an immediate connection to a place, a culture, an era. So it may be an echo of another active timeline. You see, when you have something that you cannot explain, It can often be in a past life. Sometimes, very rarely, it can be a parallel life. And sometimes also it's just something from your ancestral lineage. And parallel lives tend to occur mostly with old souls. So you might wonder, why would anyone want to incarnate and have multiple incarnations at once? Well, that's for two reasons. Firstly, old souls have accumulated many experiences, which means a lot of karma to balance, lots of fears to heal, lots of challenges to tackle. So having two incarnations at one is like, okay, we're doing a lot of things at the same time. So imagine right now, you know who I am. I am Millie. I live in Quebec, Canada. I work as a past life psychic and an Akashic reader. Well, maybe there's Roberto in Brazil, and he works, I don't know, he's a farmer. And me as Melly, I came here with my specific life plan, my soul types, my life missions, my karma to balance. Now I'm talking about old souls and life plan. If you don't know what this is about, you can check in the show notes. I have past episodes on soul ages, soul levels, the different soul types, so you can understand what I'm talking about. So before let's go with my example, okay? That's completely fictional. Let's say before I incarnated, I decided to incarnate with parallel incarnations. I made my life plan for Melly, and I made my life plan for Roberto in Brazil. And they each have complete different personalities and life missions, and they made karmic agreement with different people from the same soul family. So this is one of the reasons that you want to heal a lot of different things. Like as Millie, let's say I came here to heal a fear of rejection, a fear of self-expression, and Roberto, for him, it's more a fear of intimacy and a fear of betrayal. Because we are the same soul, we are an old soul. Me personally, I'm 40% into level 10. There's a lot of past life trauma. There's a lot of karma to balance still. A lot of challenges that I want to learn lessons from. And so this allows the soul to live a lot at the same time. Because I'm at level 10, this is the last level, I may have the wish to work on a lot of things and finish it before the end of my level. So that's a first reason. So again, it's two people, very different, two personalities, two distinct goals, but one soul. Now, the second reason is that there is actually an imbalance between young souls and old souls on Earth. And I have previously talked about this. I think it was in episode 5 when I talk about the soul ages of countries. The thing is, at a certain point, the spirit guides realized that there was more young souls on Earth than old souls. And that caused a problem because young souls don't understand that they don't fully understand that we are one, that love is the most important thing. They don't have a reference for life and the sacred as old souls have. And so basically, to put it very simple, what is happening is that young souls tend to trash the planet and make war. And that's a big problem with an imbalance with more young souls. And so the spirit guides, or I don't know exactly how it's decided, but they said that they're not creating new souls anymore. And to help elevate the collective consciousness, a lot of old souls decide to incarnate in parallel incarnations so that there are more old souls on Earth. So more old souls incarnate, and it helps elevate the conscious collective. And now you may wonder, okay, if my soul is in two incarnations at the same time, and I always say two because I've only seen two in what I see with other people, the people that I read for in Akashic readings, what I've heard from Ainsley MacLeod, for example. I always hear two. I'm not saying it's impossible that we incarnate in 3, 4, 5 lives at the same time. I've just never heard about it. So you may wonder, can you meet another version of yourself, like a parallel incarnation? And my spirit guides have said yes, it's possible, but it's not encouraged. We never plan it in our soul plan to meet our parallel incarnation. Actually, my spirit guides say that it wouldn't be productive. And they refer to parallel incarnations as twin flames, which sounds romantic because a lot of people in the spiritual community are talking about twin flames as the ultimate soulmate. Like there's only one soulmate, and that soulmate is your twin flame with whom it's wonderful, and it's the most intense relationship that you could ever live. And yes, that could be intense to be with a parallel incarnation because it's you. But my spirit guides, when I asked about it, they put it very simply. They asked me, would you want to marry yourself? And they said there wouldn't be much growth there because it's you. It's exactly the same fears, like the same karma. You wouldn't be challenged. It's too much of the same. And so I want to add an important thing here is that believing in parallel lives should never become an excuse. You can never say, oh, it's not me right now, it's my other incarnation. Like, oh, I'm having an erratic reaction. It's just because I'm living something in a parallel incarnation. Like, no, it should never be some kind of bypass or excuse. In this timeline, you are responsible for your choices, your reactions, and your evolution. And now you may wonder, is time linear? If we're having parallel incarnations, is it linear? Well, I'm not a pro in this field, but what I can say for sure is that on Earth, yes, time is linear. We experience time in a linear way. Like I wake up at 7, I go to bed at 10. We have our calendar, it's very linear. But at the soul level, time is very fluid. We could say that all our lives even exist simultaneously. Now that's hard for me to get my head wrapped around this, and I work in this field, but technically it is possible. And again, modern physics suggests something intriguing, is that at the quantum level, time doesn't function exactly as we perceive it. Some equations even work without a clear kind arrow of time, which means simultaneity isn't as absurd as it might sound. But the human brain cannot hold that perception without overload. And during Akashic readings, coming back to two incarnations, during Akashic readings, I've seen two incarnations being active at the same historical period, the same time. So, for example, when I do a past life reading, I ask the past life source of a blockage or a trauma. And then if there is one, I usually ask first, okay, show me the country and the time period. And my spirit guides may say, okay, it's Spain, mid 1800s. And then I will seek a kind of mini movie of what's happening in that lifetime, key moments. I never look for parallel lives, but they do appear, and it's because they explain something very specific in the client's present life. And often it brings deep understanding. So unless someone specifically asks me, right now, am I living a parallel life? I don't go look for it. I'm more interested in how we can heal and understand ourselves better in the light of past lives. And talking about past lives and how time is fluid, I would like to talk to you about intertemporal healing. Now, Intertemporal sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it's just that when it comes to healing past lives or ancestral lines, it happens that there is a healing for our past selves, our present selves, the future selves. In other words, if you are able to heal something in your current life, maybe it's a trauma and there's a fear of intimacy, if you're able to heal it in this current life, you are able to heal your ancestors or your incarnations in past lives. And also, it's healed for people in future incarnations, your future incarnations or future incarnations in your lineage. And when that happens, the spirit guides often suggest an exercise, which is meeting another version of yourself in meditation. And if there was a past life trauma, you can meet your past self and reassure them, thank them, release them, whatever needs to be done. My spirit guides explain everything. So all this to say, we can heal the past, present, and even future generations. And if everything is interconnected, as quantum non-locality suggests, then influencing one timeline could influence others. And let me add something here. I'm not a specialist in parallel dimensions, but many people are convinced that other versions of us exist in other realities. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics, like the many worlds interpretation, I don't know if that's the exact term in English, but I see it as the many worlds interpretation, even suggest that every choice could create a kind of branching reality. Again, this isn't direct spiritual validation, but it shows that the idea of parallel realities isn't purely mystical. And my husband likes to joke that somewhere out there, there could be an evil version of us or a very boring version of us. And I don't know if you've heard me talking about that. Maybe I've talked about it more in my newsletter where I sometimes get more personal. But last year, we've had a ton of problems with the house. Everything broke down at the same time. It was driving us crazy. And my husband was saying, you know what? Maybe we have parallel incarnations and they're having dreams. And in their dreams, like they're in a house where everything breaks all the time. And then they wake up and they look at their spouse and they say, wow, I keep having these dreams. I'm in this house and everything breaks. What is going on? So we're joking that maybe some other versions of ourselves are having dream of what is going on in our lives. But all jokes apart, the real question here is, what if your soul is far more vast than your mind can comprehend? And I think that is the case. And what I would like you to take from this episode is that the soul doesn't divide or fragment when there are parallel incarnations. It experiences just different incarnations and different ways of healing and of experiencing love. And time may not be as simple as we think. As my spirit guides always say, time is fluid. They always show me that on the astral plane, time goes very much quicker than on the earth plane. The earth is dense. The earth plane is dense. It's more slow. And that is why when we look at NDE testimonials, NDE means near-death experiences. So people who have nearly died and maybe they were in a coma and they crossed over briefly and they came back. They may have been dead for a few seconds, but they say, whoa, it's as if I spent months on the astral plane with my spirit guide, getting tons of explanation and meeting tons of people, but I was just out on earth for a few seconds before they brought me back. And the same goes what I see when I do Akashic readings, sometimes I do a bit of mediumship. Like people who have crossed over, when they cross over, they are very calm because they're like, okay, I remember who I am as a soul. I'm coming back home with my soul family. and they understand that time is very quick on the astral plane. So the people that they have just left on Earth, they're like, oh, they will be with me super soon. And those people may still live 60 years. But for us, it's like on the astral plane, oh, it's going to go super quick and they will be with me soon. So I'm curious to know now, what do you think about parallel incarnations? Is it an idea, a concept that resonates with you, or does it feel completely improbable? Let me know in the comments. I truly love to hear from you. As always, thank you for being here. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Mystical and Practical podcast with Melly Guidance. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to the channel and leave some stars, a thumbs up, or a comment. It truly helps to share the podcast with other old souls seeking a deeper understanding of the spirit world. If you're interested in getting an Akashic Records reading, a tarot reading, or joining one of my online courses, you will find all the details at mellyguidance.com. This podcast was edited by plcm.ca and the original music was composed by record.bandcamp.com. Until next time, remember, we are all souls having a human experience and we can all be mystical and practical.